What is up YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Oxygen Not Included Season 2. And we are back on the home asteroid now, along with every single duplicant that we have, which is currently 27. Again, I think I've got about 30 beds, or bedrooms, should I say. Getting a gift there. I'll take the free plastic. I know we do have the glossy Drechos now, which provide us with plastic, but it's good in terms of not needing to do all the cooling and stuff, but it's not as quick as obviously using oil to petroleum. There's George, the new guy that joined us from that special house in the bottom. Obviously destroyed that to give us the power spline back so that our base is quote unquote finished now in terms of its structure. We'll make upgrades potentially for floors and stuff, i.e. carpets maybe. And there are some rooms spaced down below to use up as well. I haven't built many of the utility rooms, so the crafting rooms. I may look at that, give it a go, see if I can get some of the snazzy outfits that they have. And then there's a lot of variants of them outfits that you can, of course, put them in as well. Okay, so we're going for the first upgrade now, and that upgrade into space is the steam engine. It's the best we can do, really. Obviously the end goal is to get to hydrogen or petroleum, but we'll get there when we do, if we do. In the meantime, steam is a good amount of blocks actually. It's twice the size of the original one you can see there to the left. I mean, the engine takes up nearly half of it. Also, the actual fact that it uses steam and we don't have any steam is an issue, but that isn't something that I'm too worried about because steam's easy to make, right? It's just water and heat. Though water is quite valuable, so I may need to use it scarcely. You can use the metered, I can't remember what they're called now, but the metered machines on the pipes and gases and stuff, so you can tell it to put a specific amount of water or gas, or so that at least you use the exact right amount. For example, that steam engine for this rocket holds 150 kilos of steam, so making more than that would be a waste. Also realised that I screwed up the heating lines. I got distracted clearly and connected the heating into the sewage. So what I'm doing here is the heating should go across the top there, and that one below it, the white pipe, is the sewage, and that shouldn't be connected to that end. So for now I'm just going to take it straight across with the insulated, and then I'll come in and put in the radiant pipes when I need them, where I need them. This area though that I'm putting it in now, temperature wise, is okay. It was just it was sort of the central segment, and I think it was due to storage that was cold. This is proving to be one of the most difficult things so far in this game. That is the desalinator and the sieve that are cleaning the waters, brine and polluted, from the geysers, so the infinite water sources we have. And unfortunately it is breaking constantly, so we're not actually getting a solid amount of water. That basin there on the left hand side is where it all collects, gets pumped up from there, but because the brine is so cold, when it gets turned into water it freezes, and the similar thing is happening as well with the polluted, and then the polluted water can't go as cold as the brine, or sorry, the fresh water can't go as cold as the brine, and polluted water turns to ice and breaks the pipe, thus stopping the whole process and taking me a while to realise. Also in the process, because we don't have steam yet, I'm going to chuck down a couple more rockets, see if we get a chance to do it. We have the fuel sucrose for the firing of them. Basically what I want to try and do is get some rovers sent out. Now looking at this, we can send 2 per rocket, so if I can send a couple of rockets to an asteroid, and what I want to do is that first asteroid that we went to that I brought them back from because basically it was just crap to live on, I want to see if we can get the rovers to do a lot of the digging and getting all the resources that are there, chucking them in the teleporter and sending them back. So at least we can not waste them resources, we can bring them back and use them here. There is some decent stuff on there, there is some metals as well, also some rust which can be used for oxygen I think, and some other things, so it's just an idea. Obviously the steam rocket you can see there will hold 4 that is liable to go somewhere else, along with a duplicate or two. Though I think likely the first launch of that rocket will just be one duplicate. Got these ready to send to the asteroid planetoids as we get there, though I do drop it down to 1 due to the power requirements. And you can see that that telescope has finally done most of its work there, and that is uncovered the map. Again, this is a mod. It takes a long time, a couple of days real time. I'm not sure how many hours of play it was, but it basically uncovers the map. Now, it doesn't uncover every single map's visuals. You still have to go closer and research them like you would normally, but it just gives you a direction to which you can go. And again, with these launchers here, I only actually managed with one, mainly because I don't actually have more than one planet running, so it makes no sense why I would waste my time setting up all three, but also it requires a lot of power. They also require rad bolts, which I'm going to cheese and just use the rad bolts from space, because as you know, the atmosphere of space is very high in radiation, so I'm just going to steal that and chuck it into one. But the rad bolt collectors are also very expensive in power, and we don't have a very good power structure up in space yet, so I need to figure that one out. So them two on the left there will get deconstructed. The one nearest to the entrance, the satellite, is the one that's going to be used and wired in. You can put liquids, solids, and the other one in their gases. There we go. Just making sure the rockets have the right priority. The smaller ones need to be done first because they're liable to get used. Of course, the steam one, we can get it building, but it's not going to be launching anytime soon. Because we're making multiple rockets, the blueprint mod's coming in handy here. So once I've got one set up for a specific reason, i.e. one duplicate for these smaller ones, saved a blueprint for it, just whack that down there, and now they'll build the entirety of that. That includes all the piping for storing the oxygen, the vent, the water for the storing the clean water, everything. As you can see there on that one that's completed, it will put in. And then once they've finished building it, and I'll just do that the other one as well, so we've now got 2 of those being built, we've got a finished rocket, and then I don't have to do it manually. And when we get the other one, the bigger one set, I'll do it. So probably a blueprint for a single occupant, and then a blueprint for 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to send more than 2. In terms of beds, I can, obviously 4. I could get 4 duplicates in one, but I'm not sure if I need to be honest. We'll see how we move forward with it. And for the incubators, you can automate them to a point. All I need to do is move that chest over into that box there where it's being moved, and that's just in the range of the sweeper. The sweeper will then pick up any eggs that are in that chest and put them in the incubator, as long as the incubator is obviously turned on, which they will be set. So the first couple are for fry, the second couple, actually no, the first 3 are for fry. The last 3 are for Drecos, and the 2 in the middle are not used at the minute. But all of our eggs are going to get stored there, and then as and when I click the incubator to take a specific type of egg, it will immediately be picked up and put in, without the duplicates having to do anything. All the duplicates have to do is take them out and wrangle them to their said location, which that up arrow that you can see in there is an automated way of doing that. So as soon as a baby is hatched, born, whatever you want to call it, that gives a signal for them to come and fetch said critter and put them in their correct location. And to show you for the water processing plant, you can see they're broken. So then I repair them, and I need to repair the one next to it as well. It's always the 2 that break, and as soon as you repair them both, the system will kick in again. Of course the sieve not, because they're not getting any polluted water. It's coming on the top now. And this will continue up until the liquid gets down below, sort of -3 or 4, I believe, is where it starts to break. And then it breaks stop again. So I do have the pipe on the right hand side there. You can see it going all the way up the power spine to steal the heat from there, but you can see it's cooled it down. I'm running out of places that are going to give me a decent amount of heat. I mean, there is the volcanoes, but that's excessive, and I don't want that much heat, because I don't want the water to get to like 40-50 degrees, because then it will make the entirety of the base that temperature. I'm not sure. I think the best option for us at the minute is to just take it slowly. There is always that natural gas geyser room that is a good source of heat if we need it, but I am already using that for 2 loops already. So it's just a case of finding somewhere where we can get a substantial amount of heat over time to stop. All we need to do is stop it from dropping too far below the 0. We don't want it freezing. That's what's damaging it. Not the wrong type of liquid or anything like. Well, technically it is because it's water. But yeah, it just needs to remain a liquid. Got 4 fish fry going at once there because there was quite a lot of eggs. I'm hoping there is a little baby sunshine bug there as well that needs to be collected, which was just done, and then the egg planted in the machine, and another baby fish pacu ready to go there. They're not the quickest. I do have quite a lot of ranchers, but I think, to be honest, the size of the base, 27 duplicates, isn't a lot. Maybe I need to do a sort of population boom. Looks pretty cool on the surface with 4 rockets almost ready to go. I mean, they're not into... Well, they are. The sugar rockets, you can see there, them two, they're fueled up. They need the items delivering now, which they can't reach, so that's why I need to put in this... Again, I'm going to call it scaffolding. And yes, you can use the proper gantries that are for this, but they require 2,000 watts each, and it's a silly amount of electricity, to be honest. So ladders cost nothing, and making the ladders out of stone, they don't get damaged by the launch either. And if you make them out of ceramic when you can afford to, they're practically indestructible when it comes to rocket launchers. So I'd call that a win, and it's cheaper. I mean, ceramic's not the easiest thing, and I may have used a bit more ceramic than I'm supposed to have, because I did get a lot at one point and now I've run out, or I'm running out. But that's the same problem I'm having with the steel as well, because the steel is gated by lime. Bring you back for a new print available, and I think we are going to pull the trigger on another duplicate here. This one has 10 husbandry to start, and honestly, ranching is where I'm pushing for resources, so it makes sense to get a lot of ranchers and farmers. 28 duplicates now as a cap. I'm just going into the priorities to make sure that whatever I give in terms of job-wise, that I'm also giving them the ability to do so. George, the guy that came from that building at the bottom, that was a very long quest line, you can see is actually one of our doctors. And then these guys joining. The last 3 people joining our team are all being turned into ranchers. Whether they're getting level 1 or 2 is not the most relevant thing, but they have to have 1. 1 allows them to use the incubators, and that's what I'm doing. So moving the babies around, wrangling, etc. That's where I'm struggling to get somebody to come and do it quick enough. Simple little steam box here. I managed to get all of the volcanoes next to each other using the move tool. Took a few goes though, because it doesn't quite place on the center of what you actually click, so that's annoying. But all I need to do is add water into this chamber now, and it will turn into steam. That pump there then on the left will pump that steam into the rocket once we get the pipe up there. That there is the counter, the meter, that says that we're only sending to 150, so that steam doesn't get stuck in the pipe and eventually turn into water and break the pipe. As it stands though, I did miss an unforeseen one thing, and that is the fact that that room's a bit small, and with nothing in there to reduce the temperature, the steam is the same temperature pretty much as the lava. So the steam gets to about 1400 degrees and breaks pretty much everything that's in there, but at least we get some steam into the rocket. Up the top you can see 2 cooling loops there, although one of them is hidden, but there is 2 separate cooling loops there, one to the left and one to the right. There's a lot of ice and stuff there to use as well. They are running 2 refineries. Each refinery has its own loop, and so far this is working very nicely. To be honest, everything but the steel is easy to do anyway. The steel is a nightmare just because of how much heat it pushes out. Usually the liquid comes out at around 90 degrees, which is very close to turning into steam. And once again, the liquid down below is broken again. Now you can see the steam pipe is broken. Sorry, the steel processing plant is broken there. Water is leaked out on the floor. That's because the brine got too hot and it will separate it into water and salt. But that is something that we can rectify just by extending the amount of radiant pipes that are on that loop to cool it down even more. It will eat through the ice very quickly up top, but it'll also give us what we need. Until we can get really lucky maybe and find a steel geyser if they even exist. Lastly as well, it's in the mods, but you'll know the machines, the refineries, don't require a duplicant to come and press the button. They are automated as long as you automate them with the resources. So what you can't see, it's off screen just at the top. The 2 chests in the center there, and then there is a shipping container, and above that is the sweeper that basically puts the materials in. There it is. The sweeper then puts the materials in, they turn them into their respective thing, and like the steel gets dropped and then picked up and put into that and sent to the base. Everything else stays here, because obviously the iron that's being made in the left-hand refinery has to stay here, because we're going to use it again to turn into steel. And I realised I was running out of power. Couldn't believe it, because I know we've got plenty of power being made, and then realised that I did some gas changing and forgot to put them back. So I cut the gas line to the gas generators, which is, yeah, quite significant when you rely on those to keep you going. You can see there actually there, 2 on the right are 1200 watts each because they are upgraded. The 2 on the left were 800. So that's also imperative to keep somebody up on that one. I actually thought that they wasn't doing it, but they are. It's just, again, that we don't seem to have enough people. Oh, and as I've said that, it's just tuned up that one. So now we have 3 at 1200 and 1 at 800. But remember, we have a lot. We have almost 5 containers, gas containers full of natural gas, plus the natural gas geysers area is blocked up. So we could probably run the whole base off it, but I think this is the best way, because the heat that we're using to power the base from down below is free. All we're going to do basically is turn the lava into solid at some point when the temperature drops enough, but it will take a very, very long time. Right, so just putting in the wiring now, and that is the wrong word to use, the plumbing for the water. We need to get the water from anywhere really into this setup, and then we can turn it into steam. And yes, I put the gates, the bridges, the wrong way around. The water needs to go from right to left to go into that chamber, not the other way around. So I need to deconstruct those and switch them around. It does take quite a lot to get any work done out here, because it is so far away from the base that they can't breathe. So very often a lot of them come out here, do half a job, and then have to run back to breathe again. I could give them masks, but it's funny to watch them run. So for now I'll leave it like that. Maybe they'll make it, maybe they won't, who knows. I really did do something weird with the piping. This is the line for, obviously the left hand line is the hot natural gas going up. The line I've just connected to on the right is the cooler coming down, and that's supposed to go into the base. Now it goes into the cookers for the decent food, the range cookers, and then the rest of it goes into storage. For some reason I've disconnected that into storage bit, and now it's not going into storage, it's just stagnant. So yes, I'm fixing that now. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to run it through the same pipe as where everything else comes, because it'll just block it up. So you can see here I'm just going to jump straight over them 2 pipes that are where the other mixed resources come in, and then straight into that white one there, which is the input for natural gas. So it'll keep it off the sorting line. Okay, so it was at this point I decided I knew what I wanted to use this giant space for. This is going to be, or for now anyway, is going to be my rocket service dongle bay thing. Basically, I'm just going to fill it full of ladders so that they can get everywhere, and then all of the piping, whether it be liquids, gases, unload, offload, power, even some transformers if we need superpower up there. Basically this will just be for everything to go through and easily done. The background is drywall, not the wallpaper, so you will see it all. So it'll look very industrial, I think, look quite cool. Obviously each of these rockets needs a line for water for the plumbing. It needs oxygen for the, well, for them to breathe, obviously. And it also needs outputs as well, which normally I just gas off to the vacuum of space, but we'll see. We can also look at getting shipping in there as well to make moving things around, offloading goods and foods and things like that just quicker. But just quickly, I don't need that to be that important, so I'm just going to drop that ever so slightly. But this just means I can plumb in the rockets and jump, because that one bar where you can see the insulated under the rocket platforms, it's already got the oxygen piping, as you can see. And I need to get oxygen pipes, water pipes, and various other things. Steam needs to go up there as well, and eventually hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, petroleum. So I just thought this would make a nice big space where I can do a spaghetti junction of piping to just make everything work as we intended it to. So again, after waiting a while, because as I said, it's quite slow to get stuff done over here, you can see there is the first bit of water going in, immediately turning into steam. A bit of condensing there from the pump, just because it needs to get up to temperature, and it now has. And then as soon as it spots the steam, it will then pump it out. Now that regulator there is going to pump out 150 kilos of steam and stop. The rocket can hold 150 kilos, nothing will be left in the pipe, and we won't get broken pipes all over the base where hot water is making a mess. However, the pump there that you can see is going to break. It's only able to handle, I mean, it's steel, so 200 plus whatever is the actual limits of it. I think it's about 320 degrees, and it's going to get well above 1400 degrees. So I need to think of a better way of doing that. Now, I could take the heat out of the steam and use it elsewhere, but that sounds complicated. I could do steam-powered energy, but that's going to actually use the steam and cool it. It will cool the steam down. I don't know. At the minute, I'm just going to get this rocket fueled up, and we'll start looking at these other asteroids. There's 2 asteroids that we've already been to that I half-arsed, and I want to try and clear them out properly, and that's what I'm rushing towards at the minute. Then we'll look at the map looking for an actual viable option, and have certainly set up an additional colony. That way I can have a lot more than 30 duplicates, because I have the bedrooms elsewhere. And now to start with the first design of the larger rocket shell, or the largest in the game anyway, which gives us a lot more space. And I want to try and get at least 2, if not 3, classified rooms in here. A bedroom, a toilet, and a recreational room would be fantastic. Maybe a mess hall if I can break them up, I'm not sure. We'll see. But we are obviously going to have to wait for them to do all of this building first. Everything's there, everything's urgent. And once it's finished and they can reach everything, because I think at the top I might have to bring them down a bit because they won't be able to reach it. But once everything's in as expected, I will then create a blueprint from it if it is adequate. And again, this build is for a single occupant only, so that's why they've got the massive comfy bed, and I'm using the skin, which is why it's a ship. It's the only skin I've got, either that or the obviously bog standard comfy bed, but I thought why not use the ship, because we are on a spaceship. And as you can see, I'm just filling in now with the remainder. This is for the oxygen to be stored. Really lazy way of doing it, but I'm not going to build an oxygen tank when I can store quite a lot in the pipe if you put enough pipe in. Now that at the top's never going to get finished. I'm going to rip that. I'm going to have to rip that out. But we are at time now, so I am going to end the episode here. So thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please click like. Any comments are welcome. As always, subscribe for more. Let me know if you want to see any other games. Take care. Goodbye.